my name is Hannah Miles, and today I'm going to show you how I incorporate a digital library like Myon into a reading lesson plan. How I can use it as assistive technology to help students who maybe have reading disabilities or dyslexia or some sort of print disabilities. So I'm using Myon just because this is the digital library that I am subscribed to at my school. And so when I come to this page, mine's going to look a little bit different than a student's would just because I'm a teacher, but they have the access to the same materials. So let's say, for example, you have a lesson in which students are supposed to read to learn, not necessarily teaching them how to read, but they need to read in order to absorb or learn new content. This is going to be difficult for students who have a print disability or a reading disability. They're going to spend a lot of their effort and cognitive load decoding words as opposed to reading for comprehension. So digital libraries and ebooks that have text-to-speech features can help ease some of that cognitive load and let them kind of focus on comprehending what they need to learn. So I am using this website for example. So let's say you're doing a reading lesson in which students needed to pick a book, and I think in the example lesson I have on this webpage, they're looking for text and graphic features. Well, they could look in a normal print book for these features, but they would have trouble reading it. They can use an ebook to do the same thing, and the program will read the words to them. They'll take that written text and convert it into an audio format. So, for example, when you're using Myon, let's say you're going to browse and they just need to find any kind of nonfiction book that they might find text and graphic features on. And so Myon has it browsed by categories, and they also have these great picture clues for students who maybe have trouble reading the labels. And let's say they like to learn about animals. Maybe they're looking for a nonfiction book on bugs. So this one looks good right here. And they would just hit read. And then they can start the book. Now, they can read this on their own, but if we're using this text-to-speech as an assistive technology, for this one example, they can push the play.
Jumping Spiders by Joanne Mattern.
And the recording is reading it for them. That sound is just at usually the beginning of the book. That's not throughout the story. So let's go to the first page. And again, they would just hit the play for the text-to-speech to start.
Super Jumpers. Jumping spiders are less than 1 inch, 2.5 centimeters long. But these spiders can do something amazing.
Okay. And it would read that whole book to them. And if you notice, as it's reading, it's not right now because it's paused, but it's highlighting those words as they're reading so that students can get that listening while reading benefit as they're looking through this book, helping them learn words, and kind of keeping up with the text as it reads. So that highlighting is also a great feature that comes with Myon. So as the student, listens to the story being read to them through text-to-speech, they are able to listen to the words instead of worrying about decoding them, absorbing the content of the book, and then, if it's going with that lesson plan, they can then go back, look for those headings, those images, maybe those facts and captions, and then they can kind of do whatever the lesson is wanting to teach them. You could do this with a fiction lesson too, if you were, had them read a fiction book and look at character traits or something. They would just need to find, a fiction story in that sense, and maybe then they could focus on the main character in that story. So here we have an example of a fiction book. So it would kind of work the same way. They could read this on their own, but again, if they wanted to, they could use text-to-speech.
It's me,
have the screen reader read through it, and then they could go and focus on the content of the lesson. And this type of technology is easily added into lessons. You just need to make sure you have some sort of digital device to look at ebooks on. Either it's a tablet or a Chromebook or a computer, but students can still do the work while they're doing it. incorporate headphones, and then the text-to-speech won't bother other learners. There are other benefits to using ebook and digital libraries also. As you noticed when I went back to that home page when I was looking through the browsing feature, it talked about how there are, here we have thousands of books on these different topics. If you were limited to just print books in a classroom, you would only have a few books for students to choose from. Also, books don't have to necessarily be on students' level for decoding. So if students maybe wanted to get a slightly harder book, as long as they could still comprehend, they wouldn't have to worry about being able to read the words as well. So that's just one example of how you can use a digital library like Mayan, and how you can use the text-to-speech features and incorporate that into a lesson to make a reading lesson more accessible to all students. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you have a good day. Bye.